Good evening, fellow Toastmaster. Welcome to Berwick Toastmaster Club. Today, 20th of February 2024, we have a special panel discussion on leadership. Leaders from Toastmaster will share their current and past experience. And before we move on, I'll share our Toastmaster Club missions. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The following are core values of Toastmaster we embrace on integrity, respect, service, and excellence. This is our online meeting etiquette. We encourage you to use reactions to support the speakers, who may be used for voting later. This is our online event statements. The events will be recorded and shared on social media later. So if you are not comfortable, you may leave now and watch the recording later, or you may turn off your camera. Thank you. Without further ado, let's welcome our Toastmaster of the evenings, Manish Bharti. Manish. Yes.
Thank you, Philip. So let me start today's meeting with introducing the topic for the day. So today we feature a panel discussion on the important subject of leadership. So before this meeting, I started out doing a research, and I discovered that 5 out of 10 people who join Toastmasters have leadership development as their prime goal and objective. I think what I discovered is that Toastmasters offers multiple resources to help the members develop their leadership skills in the form of online resources or providing volunteer opportunities as part of the Toastmasters club and the organization. So today we have a unique opportunity to listen in and get insights from our fellow Toastmasters who have, I would say, walked the rope in terms of pursuing and taking up leadership opportunities and roles at Toastmasters. So to share their insights and their learnings from taking up these roles. So today's meeting, we can be rest assured, will have a lot of practical experiences, which will help us all in navigating our leadership aspirations, not just at Toastmasters, but even beyond Toastmasters. So with that said, I would like to, for the meeting today, of course, we have a small forum, but I would like for it to be interactive. So I would highly encourage, as the panel discussion is on, for people to share examples or experiences that they would have, or any questions that they would like the panel discussion to pick up, to share in the online chat, so that these can be picked up and addressed as part of the meeting. With that said, I will like to introduce our panel moderator for today. This panel discussion is being moderated by John. Mandy will evaluate John for the motivational strategies level 5 project, moderating a panel discussion. So please welcome John Ledgar, leadership panel, John Ledgar. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Manish, and welcome everyone to our leadership panel tonight. Very excited to be able to share this with everyone. I will first like to introduce our panelists before moving on. First up, we have David Fisher. After a very strong recommendation from his business mentor in 2003, David Fisher joined Toastmasters and has since found out that that was the best advice he could ever have received. After a very slow start, David has progressed through the Toastmasters leadership track and has taken on every club executive position, served in capacities of area director and division director, and worked his way through to district director of Toastmasters in New South Wales. In 2016, David was elected to the International Board of Directors for a 2-year term, an achievement he puts down to serious preparation and wonderful teamwork. David claims he is living proof that membership of Toastmasters can indeed cause miracles to happen. Outside of Toastmasters, David has held a number of leadership roles in various industries. He engaged in further education in the past year to achieve his real estate license and has now started a business as a buyer's agent. Please welcome David Fisher. Welcome, David. Our next panelist, Kaylene Ledgar, joined Toastmasters in Canberra in 2003 after completing a speechcraft course. She was drawn to Toastmasters to overcome her fear of speaking in front of 2 people. Her fear was crippling her career opportunities. Thanks to Toastmasters, Kaylene overcame her fear and spent most of her 26 years in the Australian Public Service in leadership roles. Kaylene's Toastmasters achievements include Division Governor of the Year, Distinguished District 70 Governor, District 70 Evaluation Champion, and a 4-time Distinguished Toastmaster. Kaylene is the first member of District 73 to be appointed Region Advisor. Kaylene supported the district leaders from Region 12, which include 8 districts with members across 7 countries: Australia, Brunei, East Malaysia, Fiji, Indonesia, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea. Originally from Victoria, Kaylene returned home 5 years ago after 16 years in Canberra, New South Wales. Kaylene is a member of Berwick Toastmasters Club, currently serving as the Vice President of Education. Kaylene is passionate about the member experience and developing future leaders and speakers. Kaylene retired from the Australian Public Service after 26 years and started her own coaching business. She is a certified holistic life and career coach, including advanced imagery and NLP, a certified world-class speaking coach, a published author of 2 books, including Speaking, It's Not Worse Than Death, and From the Heart with Tears, Plan and Deliver a Heartfelt Eulogy. Please welcome Kaylene. And our final panelist is Kiru Vaithilingam. Oh, I had it yesterday. Kiru. Kiru has an MBA and a Masters of Science in IT. He's been in Toastmasters from 2007 and achieved the ACG and ALS. So that's the Advanced Communicator Gold and Advanced Leader Silver before the Pathways program. He has achieved level 3 in 2 pathways to present. He's held all club officer roles, including president and VPs, in community, corporate, and advanced clubs. Kiru has been in leadership and execution of 5 district conferences in District 79, 20, and 105. awarded District Toastmaster of the Year in 2008, and also Division Governor of the Year in 2011. He was on the TI branding in 2011. He works full-time as a delivery lead at the NAB in the mid-level management. Please welcome Kiru. So we're going to jump straight into our first question. And I did have an order here, but that's okay. So we'll go, the first question is, please share what led you to join Toastmasters. So Kaylene, please share what led you to join Toastmasters.
Well, as you mentioned, I did have a fear of speaking to more than one person at a time, and that's what led me to Toastmasters. But the reason behind why I wanted to do that is I was getting frustrated at work because people were getting promotions that I just wasn't applying for. And I should have been applying for those jobs because I was more than capable in the position I was as a business analyst in the national office for, at the time it was called Centrelink. And I should have been getting those promotions, but I wasn't because I was just too anxious and too nervous to put my hand up and have a job interview, because the job interviews required me to speak in front of 2 people. So I joined via the Speechcraft course. That was in the middle of the year. It did take me an extra 2.5 months before I got the courage to attend the club meeting. And as soon as I walked into the club meeting, I was wrapped up in Dawn's arms, who was the lady that introduced me to the Speechcraft course, and the rest is history.
Thank you, Kaylene, for sharing that. And David, what led you to join Toastmasters?
Well, originally back then, I didn't believe that speaking wasn't better than deaf. But I was in a business mentorship with a gentleman by the name of Keith Cunningham. He's actually the Rich Dad in the Rich Dad Poor Dad series, yeah. And we had to do partner introductions. So we talked to our partner next to us and introduce them, 25, 30 people in the room. I got up, I was going to dazzle them with my skills. The only problem is that nothing came out of my mouth. And that is where I was given the very stern, serious, and very positive advice of joining. Go and have a look at Toastmasters. It's you'll do well. And he wasn't wrong. It was good. I will say I joined a club in the city in Sydney here. And I can tell you, for my first 7 speeches, I couldn't see the audience, let alone the lights. And I was given good mentoring, and that changed all of a sudden. So it was from those very, very humble beginnings. And I'm so glad I took his advice.
Thank you, David. And I feel for you. I had a similar experience, but we won't go into that. Kiru, what led you to joining Toastmasters?
What led me to join Toastmasters? I was forcefully asked to join Toastmasters by accident, I would say. But I would like to rephrase the question as what made me to continue in Toastmasters. This would be more meaningful, appropriate for me, is that once I was put into Sergeant-at-Arms role, and people started to appreciate the amount of hard work I do to ensure the meeting starts on time, ends on time, take care of people. When people started to appreciate me, then that's when I realized that people are looking forward for me. And every time I do a Sergeant-at-Arms speech, the one person in the club who has the credibility to speak every time in a meeting, that gave me the motivation. Oh, yes, this is a good role that I should do for 1 more year. And then I have an opportunity to speak 3 to 4 minutes time every single meeting, and ensure that the meeting goes well. When I started to speak more, then I realized that this is the place where I can come out of my shell, my comfortability, my shyness, my lack of vocabulary, and learn all of this to become a good communicator, and therefore get all the opportunities to grow in my career as well. I hope I answered your question at least to the point, but it was a little different. It was a different circumstance for me because I was forced to join Toastmasters.
Thank you, Kiru. So we've all heard about how you all came to joining Toastmasters, and communication was a big part. When did the shift come? So I'll come back to you, Kiru. When did the shift move for you from the public speaking towards the leadership? When did that occur?
Oh, is it? That's for me.
Yes.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I, I was quite lucky to start Toastmasters with the leadership role of Sergeant at Arms. After I gave my Sergeant at Arms speech, that's when I started to give more speeches in the club. So I'm quite fortunate and very lucky to get into the leadership role because of the work that I was doing for that club. And that's when I started to get into more speaking roles. So your question is all about when did I shift from speaking to leadership? For me, it was actually leadership that came first. That propagated, that motivated me to do more communication and speaking roles.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kiru. And Kaylene, when did that shift occur for you? You're on mute.
Thank you. All I said was so you didn't miss out on anything really important. That's my favorite filler word. For me, I first had an experience of being a leader the May after I joined. So I joined in the October, in the May, when I was elected Vice President of Public Relations. But at that point, I still didn't see myself as a leader. Definitely saw myself more as a team member. Myself and the Vice President membership joined together and we made our own committee and we were a team. I'd probably say when I first felt I was stepping right into leadership might have been the year after, when I took on the Vice President of Education at my home club and president at another club. And all of a sudden, as president, you're kind of chairing the business meetings and the person that people were looking forward to. At that point, I still didn't think I was a leader, though. So I was still very much focusing on developing my communication skill and speaking and improving. When I then, a year later, I nominated and I became area governor, I think that's when I started to feel a little bit like a leader because I was out visiting other clubs. But I would say speaking was still important to me and is still important to me. I still got so much to learn. But when I really identified myself as a leader was when somebody pulled me aside at a division contest when I was division governor. And I was very much putting my team members out the front and having the area governors at the time speaking and making sure they were shining. And a past division governor at the time came up to me and said, you know, Kaylene, you are our leader. We need to hear you speaking too. And I think that was the moment I went, wow, I've actually turned into a leader and now I better focus on the leadership and just be more aware of that role as well.
It's amazing how that leadership seems to creep up on us and we become a leader well before we actually realise and acknowledge it in ourselves. David, when did it occur for you?
I would say by the time I was area director, for a reason. I was one of those members who needed the nudge and needed the nudge badly. And I guess fortunately for me, I was too dopey to disbelieve them, other people thinking I could do it. It's about 18 months into my membership, I was asked to be Sergeant at Arms. And because I was one of those people who we asked to be Sergeant at Arms because I needed the exposure on stage. I needed that 1 minute at the beginning and 1 minute after the interval. Then I was suggested to be VPPR and said, no, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Did that. Same with VPE. And then president, I gave up. I said, yeah, I'll be president for the first time. But it was after that when I was suggested by a current area director, then division director, sorry, that I should really think about area director. And it was in that year where a certain past district director by the name of Karen said to me, David, you still seem quite nervous. Look at that badge you're wearing. You're the area director. You're leading the area. Be that badge. And I thought about that and thought, I can do that. And I think that's where the switch was, but I needed to be pushed the whole way, up till that stage anyway.
Yeah. And I understand about that nudge, because I've had quite a few of those nudges, particularly in the last couple of years. And sometimes we're ready to jump in with that nudge, and other times we have to wait. But yeah, and it's really good when it all falls into place.
Can I just jump in there
Yeah.
and just add, as Ted Corcoran, past international president, says, if you think you're 80% there, jump, you'll learn the other 20% as you're flying down.
And I love that sort of concept, because yes, we're never going to be 100%. So in Toastmasters, our clubs are built upon our members, and then our members also have an executive committee who are made up of the members, which guide and direct the club and do all the formalities that are required. The executive committee is made up of 7 officers. The president as David just mentioned, oversees all the club, the meetings and business meetings, executive meetings. They ensure that the goals are being met, provide leadership and support to other members and officers in the club. And benefits that we get from being the president is leadership, which we've just heard all about, strategic planning, team management, communication and decision making. The next officer is the Vice President of Education, and their role is being responsible for developing and implementing educational programs, coordinating members' speeches and tracking member progress. And the benefit with this is with your organisational skills, program development, mentoring, time management and public speaking. The Vice President of Membership focuses on attracting and retaining club members, handling guest inquiries and organising membership campaigns. Networking, communication, recruitment, relationship building and salesmanship are benefits that you can develop through being the Vice President of Membership. We've just heard Kaylene mention, David mentioned about being the Vice President of Public Relations, and they manage the club's public image, promoting club events and handles external communications. Here you can develop your marketing skills, social media management, public speaking, writing and branding. I don't know where any organisation would be without a secretary. The secretary maintains the records, handles club correspondence and manages meeting minutes, without which things get very messy. You can develop your organisational skills, attention to detail, record keeping, time management and communication. And the treasurer is in charge of managing the club's finances and collects the dues, maintains financial records and prepares financial reports. And here you can develop your financial management, budgeting, accounting, attention to detail and responsibility. And we've got the Sergeant at Arms, who we've heard about as well, who manages the meeting logistics, sets up meeting room and ensures meeting materials are available. And here you can develop your organisation skills, event management, attention to detail and teamwork. And finally, we have the immediate past president, who provides guidance and support based on their experience as the past president. Here you can develop your mentorship, leadership, continuity leadership continuity, sorry, perspective sharing and support. So we've just heard about what all the different officers and what you can achieve from there. So I'd like to hear, firstly from David, how can serving as a club officer prepare individuals for higher level leadership roles within Toastmasters?
Thank you very much, John, for those descriptions. The skills that are listed within each of those descriptions are so important for us to know and to have, to learn. And especially so when we're leaving the club in going into district and then perhaps later into international roles. All those skills are still there and still needed. In fact, all of those skills, all those positions are mirrored also in the district. They're pretty well the same. Yeah, but just a greater spectrum of members there. When we get to international, and so Kaylene, for example, myself, they split a little bit into strategic, which is the board, and operational and training, which is the region advisor, both just as important as each other. There's not one on top of the other. And so all the skills that we learn in the club, where it's a warm environment, where we can make mistakes, not that you can't make mistakes outside the club, we've all done that, but they all come to fruition the higher we go or the lower we go, because really when we leave the club, we go down. We're supporting the members above us. So it's all those skills. They're still there, maybe a bit more intense. It's all about forging connections as you can in the club and you do in a broader spectrum outside of the club. So there's all those skills, all those roles are actually still there. And it's not different to an organization outside of Toastmasters, that you need all of those skills to be a successful organization. So what we learn in the club is extremely important when we go outside the club.
Thank you very much, David. Reflecting on your journey, Kaylene, what club officer role do you believe had the most significant impact on your growth as a leader?
This is such a difficult question because the Vice President Education is one of my favorite roles, and it definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone with so many areas. I loved being a spreadsheet queen when I used to manage it in Excel, but then I learned how to use Free Toast Host, and it's changed my life as a Vice President Education. But I love the creativity and being able to think of different ways to bring learning and opportunities to our members. So that lots of benefits there. But the president role also put me in a position where it was me, and I was the one standing out the front, and I was the one that was seen as the leader of the club. And that was really uncomfortable for me, because as much as I am comfortable being a leader, I am so much more comfortable being the cheerleader. And I think that leads me to my favorite position is immediate past anything or past anything. So immediate past president, definitely, but being the past. So I'm looking forward to next year when I am not Vice President Education and I get to mentor the person that is in that role. And that's where I got my greatest learning, being able to let go of what I did when I was a leader and to support the next wave of leaders, and then letting them become their unique leader, knowing that my way is not the only way to climb a mountain. They will have different ideas and different ways to do it. And that was the greatest learning, being able to let go and support and cheerleader and help other people in that role.
Thank you, Kaylene. I love the way you put it about being the cheerleader, and I've heard you talk about that before, and I think we all need that. So for you, Kiru, how do club officer roles contribute to the overall health and success of a club?
Thanks, John. I think so. Why all the 7 club officers are important? If I had to draw a line between the DCP, which is the 10 points a club has to achieve. So if a club achieves 10 points, which means that the club has a very good strength of membership, and the they also are doing the club roles properly. So the first 6 points goes to education. When I say first 6 points goes to education, not just one member doing all the 6 points, it is the number of people. The new members, how many of them are doing level 1s? Level 2s, how many of them are doing level 2s? How many of our members are doing level 3s, level 4s, and level 5s? And last but not the least, how many of them are achieving DTMs as well? So if a club has only 5 people, you can't achieve all these 6 figures, which means that talks about education. Second is new members. So 2 points goes for getting 8 new members. If we get 8 new members, 2 points. 1 point goes for officers being trained. So which means that not just one person going and getting trained, minimum of 5 people getting trained or 4 to 5 people getting trained. Last but not the least, dues must be paid on time. And the club officers, elected club officers, should be uploaded to TMI on time. So all these are done by 7 different club officers. The 6 points of education mainly being contributed by Vice President membership and the Vice President education. The new members are contributed by Vice President public relation, Vice President membership. And the club officers being trained is being contributed. It's being contributed from all the club officers being elected, going for the training. And last but not the least, the treasurer has to do all this, ensure that all the dues have been paid, so that who was paid is not just sitting in a bank account; it goes into TMI. So that is the complete success story of a club. It's not even if one hook of the chain falls apart, the club cannot survive. To hold all this chain together, that's why we had the president, to ensure none of these hooks get loosened. And ensure the president has been even correctly motivated when the time comes. I think so. That's where we have the immediate past president. So all these 8 club officer roles are the heart and soul of all the lovely members they have.
Thank you.
My opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Back to you.
Now, our next question is, what advice do you have for Toastmasters who may be hesitant to take on club roles, and how can these roles contribute to personal and professional development? So I'll come to you first, Kaylene.
My advice is do it. Nominate for any role, nominate for all of the roles. You don't have to know what you're doing to take on these roles. You will get training, you will have support. I started from nowhere. Every year I'm learning. And, you know, for me, like, I was terrified. I didn't even know what the internet type stuff was when I was VPPR. I had to learn how to use the internet, which was crazy now, you think. So you can start. We all started there. So don't compare yourself to any of the current leaders as well. They're learning as they do. From a personal, you will get out of Toastmasters and you'll get out of the leadership roles what you want to put into it. John shared a lot of the benefits earlier. But I know for me being a leader in Toastmasters gave me opportunities in the public service. I for the last part of my career, last part of my 26 years, I spent half of that in leadership because of Toastmasters. And the last part of that leadership, I didn't apply for any job. I just kept getting picked. Kaylene has Toastmaster skills. Kaylene knows how to do this and this. We'll get her working on this project. Kaylene has it right now. We'll move her to this project. Because of all the leadership skills and opportunity I had within Toastmasters helping me. So you can make it work for you, but absolutely say yes. Communication skills is important. You will escalate or accelerate your communication skill development by becoming a leader in Toastmasters.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kaylene. David, what advice do you have to people hesitant to take on leadership roles and how it impacts?
Thanks, John. Well, firstly, I'd say believe the person who suggested it to you in the first place. And And not only that, but your next question will be, could you mentor me? And I think that's a great way to go because, you know, the club's it's a warm environment. It's, you know, I don't believe anyone's died yet from being a club officer. Just being there. There are other reasons. Look, it's a warm environment. I think that all those skills that you mentioned before, John, if we can be hungry, or we should be hungry to get a number of those skills, and this is the beginning of getting those skills. And I think once we contribute to the club, and Kaylene's reflected on this too, once we contribute to the club, once we're giving, we actually get a whole lot more back without even thinking about it. It's just, you know, the first skill you'll get, the first experience you'll have if there's an election for any of the officer roles is an election speech. How good is that? 30 seconds or a minute just explaining how you could serve the club. And it starts from there and it doesn't finish there. It's just fantastic. If we don't think we have enough time, there's always people that we can get on board to help us out. It's just one of those win-win-win situations.
Thank you, David. Thank you. And Kiru, what advice do you have for Toastmasters who are hesitant taking on club officer roles and how that will work and benefit their professional and personal lives?
Sure. I like to quote an example in a different way. There's no point of blaming that I don't know how to swim. You should you should go to the classes and learn swimming. Same with leadership. I feel so. There's no point of me saying that I don't know how to lead 2 people. I don't know how to lead 10 people. I don't know how to lead a group of people. The best way is learn how to lead people. And what better place you will get other than Toastmasters, where you don't have to pay anything and you get an opportunity on a platter to lead yourself, lead your work, and lead people as well. And in Toastmasters, you get such obedient people that they will just do what you ask for if they can. Learn from the place where you get an opportunity to learn, and use that learning effectively at your workplace. At a workplace, if they say, would you be able to lead a group of 10 people and ensure that the work is completed within a time span of 10 weeks time or 20 weeks time or within a year's time? These days, most of the organization are working on agile leadership, which means that they wanted output in such a quick manner. And the best place where we can learn people, leading people management is also Toastmasters.
Thank you, Kiru. All right, we'll move on because we're getting on with time a little bit. So this question's for David. What are the benefits of becoming an area director?
So we talk a lot about stepping outside of our comfort zone. And to a lot of us, being area director is stepping out of our club and therefore also our comfort zone. So we don't necessarily know all the members or the executives of the other clubs that we're actually mentoring, we're dealing with. I think it's all about learning leadership in just a little bit slightly larger forum. So you go through its VPE president, you know your club members, you're familiar. The next step is just a little bit more foreign to that, but it's a good thing because as in the club, you still have mentors outside of the club, and it's really that sort of organization. I also believe that if we give opportunities to other people, so people in the other clubs, whether it be giving educationals, whether it be contests or whatever, it's actually getting opportunities yourself. I think that there's always that give and take relationship. Possibilities at DEC and District Executive Committee and other meetings to forge relationships with more people, getting more ideas to take back to your club and your area clubs, networking with different people. All those skills are coming to the fore even more, but a little bit more intensive and larger. I think it's just a fantastic step to take.
Thank you, David. Can you briefly explain the other district officer roles, Kiru?
Sure, John. David already explained about area director. So after area director's role, we have a division director. A division director is one oversees the educational growth of few areas. I would say 4 to 6 areas, if I had to say. And above division director, or rather below division director, because Toastmasters is an inverted pyramid, I would like to say below division director, we have the district team. It starts with the club growth director, like the role what I'm doing, who is in charge of creating new clubs in our district, also ensuring all struggling clubs are getting help and benefit to succeed in membership numbers. After the club growth director, we have the program quality director, who will be mainly focused on trainings, club officer trainings, district officer trainings, and any other educational trainings that district needs, including judges and other trainings as well. To oversee these two, the trio has a district director. Not just that, we also have finance manager, public relation officer, logistics manager, are these 3 other roles that the district office has. We are not limited to these. All of this division director and area director can have their own team, like assistant division director, assistant division director education, assistant division director for marketing. Likewise, the same positions can be created for area directors. They're not elected positions, the assistant ones, they are nominated by the area director, division directors. Having said that, that's all for the district officers role.
Thank you very much, Kiru, and that's a lot more than I actually understood. So I've actually got a much clearer idea now. Kaylene, can you let us know what other leadership opportunities there are beyond club?
Yeah, so the first one I would suggest for most people would be the area and division contests, and possibly even district contests. So helping out at a contest as a contest official, maybe a timer or a counter or a judge is a great way. Going and judging at other club contests as well is a great way to step out of your club. The district also has a range of different staff officer roles that you can look at, which might involve helping out at training or being part of a training team, helping with club coaches, helping with building new clubs. Building new clubs is one of the steps for you to become a distinguished Toastmaster. So sponsoring a new club is one of the options that you have to be a distinguished Toastmaster, as well as doing speechcraft and youth leadership course coordinators for those roles. Another one, with a new club, being a club mentor, that's another requirement for a distinguished Toastmaster, or being a club coach role as well. And these are helping either new clubs or helping clubs that are struggling to rebuild. So they're opportunities within clubs, but I would also say that we can create our own opportunities through the High Performance Leadership Project and look at what projects might be able to be done outside of the club and in the community as well, but utilising your Toastmaster skills.
Thank you, Kaylene. And I've got to admit that the judging option, that was something that actually got me really involved in Toastmasters, getting out and seeing other speakers speak, but also giving that service and support for other clubs. Okay, so I just want to find out a little bit about personal development. So beyond the organisational impact, how have your leadership roles in Toastmasters contributed to your personal and professional development? Kiru.
Well, like I mentioned before in the first question asked to me, I started with Sergeant Chathams. But having said that, once I took over the Vice President Education role and the President role, that's when I started to believe that I can move away from a technical person to more of a people management leadership role. And once I went beyond, like, from president to area directors and division directors, that's when I realized that, oh my God, there is an ocean of opportunity that we have in Toastmasters, which I can really use it in my work environment, not to just catch the next branch of the in my career, but blossom into a big tree, using Toastmasters as a tool to to ensure that I build my personality and my career. I think so. There's a lot of opportunities that we have in Toastmasters that we can use to ensure that we build our personal and professional development in our life.
Thank you, Kiru. And I love the way you said use Toastmasters as a tool. And yeah, I totally understand that, making it work for us and getting the most out of it. David, how has it helped you in your beyond Toastmasters, in your personal and professional development?
I think if I put it down to one phrase, I'd say it's given me the courage to be vulnerable. I think a lot of us, I feel vulnerable, a little bit nervous when we take on something big, but I never, ever shy away now. If I'm asked to speak somewhere, I don't run to the hills. I say, do my very best. Being that speaker, being that leader, it's taken me into project management of real estate auctions for councils around the state. It's doing that. It's things like, I was asked to be the MC of a funeral, and it was the most wonderful experience. I was very vulnerable at first. I thought, "Wow, I've never done that before." It gives you the ability to go out there. I was able to also be an intervention manager for people who were finding it hard to pay rates and water rates for their houses, and trying to help them out, actually going cold calling to their house and actually talking to them. That I would never ever have been able to do if I hadn't become a leader in Toastmasters or a regular speaker. That one-on-one, that one-to-many is all covered. Yes, we're vulnerable at the beginning, but we can do it. And that's what's given it to me, personal and professional.
Thank you, David. And yeah, I think that vulnerability is a big thing, and for us to embrace it, because it can actually help us grow. Okay. All right. So I've got this question, which I'm going to put to Kiru first, and then I'll put it to David as well. How can mentors play a role in guiding and preparing Toastmasters for leadership positions? So Kiru.
All right, okay. How can mentors play a role? It's not just a role, they play the biggest role to ensure that the organization and the activities in the organizations continue to follow the same pattern. No one can say that I know everything, and everyone can say that I don't know much as well. So hence, I firmly believe that it is through mentors that the leaders are getting developed, and mentors help guide, sometimes challenge them to do more than what they are capable of doing it as well. I sometimes feel that, oh, I can't do this, but through the motivation of mentors, through the challenge of mentors, through the challenges given by mentors, guidance given by mentors, I realize that this is not the end of my capability. This is not the line of my capability lines. I can go past this line, and I could even find another line for me, and I can go past that as well. So mentors are the key guide and the motivator, the cheerleader for leaders to grow.
Thank you. And David, how can mentors play a role in guiding and preparing Toastmasters for leadership positions?
So I'll speak on this for the rest of the evening. No. We all know those things that we need to be as a mentor, setting expectations for the mentee, listening, empathizing, it's critical thinking, giving positive feedback. But I think the main thing is just being there for the person, just being there, teach them how to fish, and then encourage them to fish often and regular. I say that even on the board of directors, and I know every part of Toastmasters, we have mentors. And we have a mentor from a second year ID, and then we become a mentor the second year. We mentor first year IDs. And if it's important for our strategic board to do that, I think it's important for every part of the organization to do mentoring. In the end, to me, it's just relationship forging, and that's the added benefit of mentoring for both the mentee and the mentor. So it's a partnership. But I'd say again, just being there for the mentee. Don't tell them how to do something, but guide them to think that way.
Thank you. And I agree with you as well. It's a very rewarding job to do, but it's also great to have someone there guiding and mentoring you. Kaylene, how can leaders actively contribute to creating an environment where members feel empowered to take on leadership roles?
So a number of things. The first thing that, and we do this in our club in Berwick, we provide opportunities for members to be involved in what the committee's doing. So we have 4 subcommittees that are currently working at the moment. I think we've got a 5th one as well. So we encourage people to get involved and be part of the team. We are also highlighting the leadership opportunities with how they can link projects to pathways so that they're getting the win for themselves as well. I think for me, it's listening to what the person is coming to Toastmasters for, and then showing them the way that they can achieve that, how they can maximize the opportunities in Toastmasters to go for what they want, but then go beyond what they want. I only came in to be able to speak to more than 2 people. And look at, I'm still here 20 years later, and I've served as region advisor at that international level, and I've done all the district and club roles and things like that. Never would have expected leadership. In fact, I was told I would never be a leader before I joined Toastmasters. Well, guess what? Toastmasters is where leaders are made, and you can become a leader. And I think just by encouraging, supporting, and allowing people to find their own way, to find their own way of being a leader. Like I said, there's many different ways to get to the other side of that mountain. There's my way, but all of us here will have our own unique way. So letting them know they can do it. It's okay. It's a safe place to stumble, but guess what? You've got a club of mentors there helping you with whatever you're doing, and we're going to be cheering you along.
Thank you, Kaylene. And I love that analogy that you shared about the mountain. You've shared that before. Before we start to wrap up, I just want to see, is there any questions from the audience? Okay. Okay, we'll move on.
I have a question, but I can't find my hand to
Sorry.
put my hand up.
Yes, Vandana.
So my question is probably to Kaylene first. How much time in the week does Toastmasters take in your current role? And how do you fit? Because you're a busy person, you know, with so many your own business, and I've just started following you on LinkedIn. How do you balance everything?
Yep. So Toastmasters and how much time you put into Toastmasters is really up to you. I use Toastmasters to distract me from other things. So I will get into the zone with doing my book, or I'll get in the zone with my business, and then I'll hit a stump, and then it'll be right. I'm going to go into Toastmasters. I'm going to play in here for a bit. So as for how much time I use, I can't give you an exact number. What I will say though, as a leader, you can specify this is how much time I'm available to Toastmasters, and you can stick to that. The beauty of sticking to that time frame is that if you have extra responsibilities that can't be fit in that time, guess what? You can get a team, you can become a leader and get more people involved and start exercising that leadership skill that you have. And by doing that, you will be able to achieve more, stick to your time frame. You're also going to be developing other people and giving them a taste of what is involved in that role. So I could do Toastmasters full time if I wanted to. I won't, because I do want to do my other stuff as well. So you put in what you can, but don't feel that you have to do more than you need to. If you can only do this much, but you need to do off the screen, then ask for help and build a team and work out what needs to be done in that space. I hope that answers your question in a roundabout way.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
that question. And with that, we are coming to an end. So I just quickly want to ask David, any final thoughts or words of encouragement about leadership for people?
Yeah, absolutely. I would totally encourage people to think about it and just step into the fray. It reminds me of a book I listened to just a couple of months ago called The Go-Giver. And this was about a salesman who was doing an incredible job, doing a lot of work, not getting a lot of response. He was a real go-getter. And I think you'll understand the difference. But if he learned to give to his potential clients and people around him, and he succeeded so much easier that way. So I think by giving, we're actually getting a lot more. And that's something to think about. We get new perspectives. We learn leadership in a larger organization. We learn and we succeed. And that's how it goes, step by step. I'll just end with one quote from Howard Behar, who was one of the instrumental figures in making Starbucks such a successful organization when they were quite small. He related with his employees, and he said, "We are people in the people business serving coffee, not in the coffee business serving people." So his focus was on the people. And that's basically how they garnered or they acquired commitment from their people, because their people thought they were part of the organization, and they absolutely were.
Thank you, David. And Kiru, any final thoughts or words of encouragement?
All right. As a parent, I want to be a hero for my child when he grows up. And I think I will learn how to be a hero through Toastmasters. When he is at 2 or 3, I need to learn how can I be emotionally intelligent when he speaks something. When he turns 18, I want to be correct, and I want to learn the parenting through Toastmasters. When he comes 13, I want to be the real hero to show him how I can develop skills. So I'm preparing myself to be a good father, and I firmly believe that I'm using this years of Toastmasters to groom myself to be a good father so that my son can look up to me and then say, okay, I want to be my father. I'm raising the bar now so that he can reach it at the early stage. I'll keep growing through Toastmasters and any other forum so that my son and my daughter can keep reaching and raising their bars every time they grow up as early as possible.
Thank you, Kiru. And Kaylene, any final thoughts or words that you'd like to share?
Yeah. So I think whether you're new to leadership or you're a seasoned leader, always take the opportunity to get involved in leadership, whether it's leading from the front or leading from behind or just leading as part of a team. Get involved in it. You become part of a community that are like-minded, that are focused on growing. And I think that's something I really like, the empowerment that I feel when I'm part of a team, that it inspires me to do more. So if you get asked, if you're not asked, say yes yourself. Jump into club leadership or district leadership, but embrace all of these opportunities, because Toastmasters truly is where leaders are made.
Thank you, Kaylene. With that, we have come to the end of our panel on leadership. I would like to thank David, Kaylene, and Kiru, as well as everyone else who has come tonight to support us. We will have a photo of everyone or the team, or both. Both, I think. I think we do both.
Okay, I'll unspotlight us all now. Sorry, John, the first photo had your mouth open.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
I will grab a photo of everybody now, so if everybody could smile. And John, you can hand back to Manish when you're ready. So we're all smiling, happy. Yay, thank you, people.
With that, we have come to the end of the leadership panel. Thank you all for coming along, participating, supporting. It has been an awesome journey. I've learned a lot, and I trust that all of you will have learned a lot from tonight. Back to you, Manish.
Thank you, John, and thank you, David, Kaylene, and Kiru, for sharing your insights. I must say you have definitely inspired me and into taking up roles at Toastmasters, and I'll be looking forward to those opportunities. So thank you for sharing. With that, I would like to next call upon Mandy Weavers to share an evaluation about John. So over to you, Mandy.
Thank you, John, for a very educational panel. It was a really good group of people that you got here, and they gave us some really good information. First of all, you introduced everybody, and you gave their credentials, you gave their experience, and you spent a good amount of time of ensuring that we all knew what type of leaders they were and how qualified they are to answer these questions, and especially in the Toastmaster arena. I really liked the way you commented gave little comments through, not every single one, because you moved the questions along as well. But between questions, you gave a little bit of a comment. It just gave that little bit of personal touch as you moved along, and it showed that you were listening to what they were saying. When you went, and the other one that I really liked was how you went through the roles for Toastmasters and ensured that everybody understood what the leadership roles were in the for the executive committee, so that if anyone wanted to do those roles, they knew exactly what they were and what they meant, and then they were going to answer them. The questions were very well structured. You started out with what led you to join Toastmasters. So you're starting on that slow introduction, and then you moved into those questions of going into a bit more depth. So what shifted you to being from a public speaker to a leader? What was it that had them moving into that? And then you ask questions jointly and specifically to each individual about different parts of their leadership based on what they'd been done. One thing that I was thinking that could have been, and possibly a suggestion of improvement, was when initially, just to make sure you set the structure up, and just to ensure that everyone knew exactly how it was going to work. It's just the very first question you asked, Kiru wasn't sure it was him, but after that you did name everyone, and you went on and moved quickly forward and ensured that everybody knew. So it was like you saw the problem and then fixed it, which I also really liked. This was a fantastic panel, and you had really good people. And I'd like to just thank David, Kaylene, and Kiru for being on here. It was great to have you. John, thank you for organising, and you did really well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy, for sharing the detailed feedback. Next, I would like to invite Vandana for sharing the evaluation on the Toastmaster of the meeting. Over to you,
Thank
Vandana.
you. Thank you, Manish.
This is my first evaluation and feel very grateful to be evaluating you, Manish, as the Toastmaster. You provided a really good introduction of the topic, and you had put in effort to do a bit of research and shared some statistics on leadership, which really set the scene and made everyone ready for what was to come with the panel discussion. At the end, you thanked everyone and acknowledged the panel's effort in sharing their insights. And you've also sort of picked on some of the learnings that you want to sort of that has stuck with you and you implement. I think it was around taking roles and, seeing it through and the learnings that comes with taking responsibilities. You've got a very pleasant voice and someone who's, it's easy to listen to because that sort of you've got a genuine way of presenting. You may want to work on, and that's probably how your camera is placed, but probably looking at the camera. And I know online makes it hard because camera is there and everyone's here. And maybe to challenge yourself. I don't know whether you did have notes, but maybe it was just the way you are set up to speak without any reference notes, which I don't know if you had or not, but you were very genuine in the way you spoke, and you really managed the meeting really well. And in terms of preparation for the meeting, you were sort of in touch on WhatsApp, which was great as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Vandana. Much appreciate the feedback. With that, I will quickly move on to our meeting agenda for next week. So I will be the Toastmaster for the upcoming meeting on 27th of February. The meeting is an in-person meeting at Berwick RSL. We have an interesting theme, and which is taking one step at a time and building incrementally. So that's the theme for the next meeting. We have a exciting lineup and agenda, as we would have a full packed four speakers sharing their speeches. We would have round robin, and we would also be doing speech evaluations. So it would be a full agenda. There are 3 roles that are available for this meeting: round robin, arc master, and timekeeper. I would highly encourage, if you can, please sign up for them. And I really look forward to seeing you all there at the next meeting. So thank you all for staying back 10 minutes. I know it's a long evening, but thank you so much. And thank you, panel and the team, for the inspiring session.